Welcome to Empires and Puzzles Books interview number 7. The original intent of doing these interviews was to interview and talk to some of the top players in the game that we see it all over the charts, whether it's in the Ninja Tower, the Mythic Titans, or the monthly challenge events, or the daily global trophy count. It's always intriguing to me that who are the people behind these screen names that we see throughout the game, and that was the original intent of this series. However, as I got a few interviews under my belt, I realized that there are many players that have a lot of value to add to some of the conversations we're having. And we're going to, from time to time, be talking to some players that have not completely established themselves yet, maybe on a national or global scale, but are definitely making a difference somehow in the game. So today's interview is going to be pretty special. We're going to be talking with Alice from 7 Days Uprising, who is actually now in 7 Days Reborn. And that's sort of the point of the conversation today. We're going to be looking at the importance of trainer alliances and how players can move up through the ranks and get involved with some of the top alliances. So Alice is going to be a unique interview today, and as always, I appreciate your feedback, comments, and suggestions as we move forward with this interview series. I would be curious to interview someone, if there's anyone out there who is completely focused on 3-star heroes or 4-star heroes, if that's your thing and you've built a crazy roster out of 3s and 4s and want to show that off and talk about what can be done with those heroes, I think that would be a fantastic topic for a future interview. So we're going to jump into today's interview. I do want to apologize in advance. We had a bit of a windy day going on here, and the mic cut some of it down, but not all of it. So I apologize in advance for some wind noise. Enjoy this interview. Welcome, everyone, to another Empires and Puzzles Books interview video. We have a very unique and special guest today. Her name is Alice, and she has recently transitioned alliances, which is going to be a feature of this interview. So Alice, just in the last week, actually in the last 48 hours, moved up from 7 Days Uprising into 7 Days Reborn. So we're going to be talking with Alice about trainer alliances. So Alice, would you mind just sharing a little bit about yourself and your background with the game?
Yeah, of course. Hi all, hi everybody. First of all, I want to thank you very much for inviting me to do this. I actually started playing comparison puzzles, I think, last January. So it will be about a year and 2 months, 3 months right now. Um, First of all, I want to say that I've never played a phone game more than 2 weeks. So this is my longest experience with a phone game. I've played a lot of PS games or PlayStation games, but never phone game that long. And I actually I got captivated by it. I really like it a lot, and I actually had a good start with it because my boyfriend played it at the time. It was 2 years for him when I started playing, so he actually helped me a lot in the beginning. Told me what should I do, what should I don't do. I explained about the lances, Titan swords, and stuff. Because I suspect I would be pretty lost in the beginning if I didn't have that help at the time. And yeah, I actually got pretty quick into it. First, I got into a lance that wasn't very active actually, and I outgrew it pretty fast. I got my first 5-star hero, I think, 2 months after playing it. I remember it very well. It was Telluria when she was featured as Hero of the Month.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember how much I wanted her because I already knew at that time that she was pretty big in the game. She was going to be pretty big at that time. So I really wanted her very bad, and it was a free pool coin. I got Gato, you know, the crocodile guy. And suddenly I got a bonus draw, and it was the first time I saw a bonus draw. So that was very exciting for me. And after that, yeah, it got pretty wild. I found because I'm from Bulgaria, and after that I found a Bulgarian alliance which was pretty active. I pretty quick managed to get close to the level of my boyfriend, so we were able to play in one alliance together. So yeah, we played a little bit there, and of course, I've always knew about 7 Days Family. I've seen a lot of videos from, especially from 7 Days Departed players online. So I naturally was interested in it. And one day I simply joined their Discord server. And I just introduced myself. I suppose you know. I don't know if you're in Ascendant, right? Right. I don't know if they use Discord that much, but I suppose that you know that there's an introduce yourself section. So I simply type 2 words in there saying how much I admire 7 Days and how much I would like to play one day in there. And suddenly a recruiter contacted me saying that they might have a place for me in their training alliance. I didn't know they have a training alliance by the time. So yeah, and basically that's how it started.
Excellent. So Alice and I sort of met virtually a few months ago. She reached out to my Empires and Puzzles books page, offering to help with some research, which I really appreciated. I was sort of just ending a lot of research at that point. I haven't started any new intensive projects, so we haven't had a reason to collaborate on research. But it was always in my mind that she had reached out, and I thought that was very professional and appropriate and fun of her to want to get involved. And now hearing her story doesn't surprise me that she did the same thing with 7 Days and kind of had that eagerness and that interest to get further in the game and the community. So after I joined 7 Days Ascended, we use Line more often, but there are some Line groups for the entire family of 7 Days, which is something I think is going to be valuable for us to talk about today. And that's when I saw Alice again, saw her popped up in the family chats, and I was like, wait a minute, I recognize this person. And then I noticed that she was actually the leader of 7 Days Uprising, which I think brings us to an important conversation that we don't talk a lot about in the community, which is the importance of training heroes. Hello. Training heroes are important too. Training alliances for building up the roster of people who are playing with the larger alliances. And this isn't anything new. We're obviously going to be talking about 7 Days quite a bit today, just because we're both in that family. But other large alliances do these kind of feeder alliances that train people and move them up the ranks so that they can become one of the top players. So I appreciate that Alice is willing to dip her toes into this interview and kind of introduce herself. She's obviously not been in the game quite as long as some of the other players we've been talking about that have, these really high achievements and have done things. But I think it's going to be interesting to talk to Alice now and maybe in another year and see where she's at.
Yeah.
So I apologize. There's some construction happening about half a mile away here, but it carries through the canyon. So sorry, can you hear that noise?
No, I only hear wind actually at your end. So
okay, good. It's like really loud banging. All right, so let's talk about the trainer line. So what did you need to get into 7 Days Uprising?
Well, at the point when I applied, I think I only needed to have around 10 maxed 5 stars. They didn't have anything as a requirement at that time. So me and my boyfriend applied together at that time. His roster was quite bigger than mine at that time, but he wasn't quite there yet for the upper alliances. So yeah, we got accepted in. And basically what Uprising does is they give you a taste of what competitive play is like. Because there are a lot of players who would like to play competitively, but they don't actually have an idea what it would be like. And from my experience, it actually takes a lot of the dedication to the team and to the game, of course. It's fun. It's a lot of fun when you see that your players also have that passion for the game as you do. But it actually requires dedication, of course. So we give players, newer players mostly, that taste of what competitive play is like. We try to play as close as possible to the other 7 Days Alliance's rules and strategies related to wars and titans. But we actually have to tune it down sometimes, because we're not quite at that level yet. But yeah, basically that's what we do in Uprising. it's hard for me to speak from outside of a pricing point of view right now, because I
Sure.
still feel like I'm there. And we actually have a lot of mentoring groups. We have one-on-one mentoring, because some of our players are actually ahead of others. So some of our players are pretty knowledgeable, and they can give the others some ideas of who heroes are important at that stage they're currently in, and who should they level up next, and so on. If a mentor doesn't know anything, he can just jump into our 7 days family chat and ask for opinion there.
Sure. Great. So that's a reasonable entry point for somebody who's interested in getting into one of these larger alliance families. So 10, yeah, we do have a lot of wind going on today. So 10 max 5 stars is pretty reasonable. And they currently are requesting level 11 troops on your defense. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So level 11 troops, and your 10 max 5, or you potentially could be getting in. Now we do have a lot of viewers that have more robust experience than that and have a larger roster and larger troops. So know that to get into 7 days or any of these other alliances that work with families, you don't have to start in Uprising and move up. It's just that it's an entry point for players that may be newer to the game or haven't, maybe they're cheap to play or free to play and are slower with building their entire roster. So it gives them an opportunity to get their feet wet in one of these large families and have the access to mentoring. So how long were you in Uprising?
I think I entered last October or November, and I was able to move up yesterday. So that will be about 6 months, if I'm correct. Actually, the biggest struggle for me were troops, because for all the other upper alliances, they require level 23 mana troops. So actually, that took a lot of time for me. The heroes not that much. I needed around 15 more or 12 more to go up to 25, because now Reborn and Emerge, as far as I know, require 25, minimum 25, max 5 stars. But yeah, they all require minimum of level 23 mana troops.
Yeah, the troops are the big one. I always find it interesting that you see players complain all the time about not getting 4-star mats to raise the heroes, and you see them doing all these summons to get more and more heroes, and they're waiting for mats. And really, that investment is much better put to use putting into troops, because the troops you'll have forever and you can use them with all your heroes. And
Absolutely.
that is a big thing that the alliances are looking for. They want to see that you have the robust troop support to go with those heroes.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about the fun leaving that you had from Uprising. What did they do in the last week well, actually, before we get to that, let's talk about the fact that you actually grew inside of Uprising, right? So you came in as a regular player, and we all know the regular process of becoming an elder or co-leader, things like that. But you actually rose up to the top.
Yeah, I did. Actually, first of all, I've never wanted to be a leader of an alliance, because I don't think I have that ability in myself naturally. But it just kind of happened. First, I offer my help with recruitment, because in our training alliance, we sometimes have that struggle of getting to 30 people. Actually, most of the time we get the struggle of getting to 30. It's not like we're that popular as the other 7 days alliances. And also it's hard to get newer players to that competitive play type of play, because we often get new recruits, new players in, but they often quit in around a week or two, because they don't quite have the dedication in them. So it's hard to find the right players at that stage. And first of all, I actually offered my help with recruitment, because I actually do recruitment as my real life job. I'm a recruiter as well. So yeah, I offered my help with that. And I actually got very close with two of the other co-leaders, the leader and at the time, and another co-leader. we actually started talking outside of the game, not outside of the game because they live into pretty faraway places around the globe, but we started sharing experiences outside of the game, and it was really nice. So they started giving me more and more responsibilities inside of of an alliance. We have a lore tracker, we have a Titan tracker where we actually follow everybody's progress and see. It's not about average that much, more about if a certain player needs help and needs extra mentoring for going further. So actually, that's the reason we have those trackers. Yeah, and unfortunately, I think around 3 months ago, the leader at that time, who is actually the founder of the alliance, had to quit a competitive play because of her health. She needed to take care of her health, and yeah, she made me leader of the alliance. Thank God she returned around a month ago, so now she took everything back in her capable hands. But yeah, actually, maybe one point we haven't discussed that at some point we decided to split the pricing into groups. So for I think 2 or 3 months we had a pricing and a pricing 2. And the reason behind that decision was that our players were at very different levels. We have players who were ahead of the others. So our wars actually were quite tough for some of them. Our Titans also were quite tough for some of them. So we wanted to give everybody an equal experience of the game. So we split the alliance in two, which actually, unfortunately, didn't quite work well. Because the smaller ones, the pricing too, started struggling with recruits and members. So around a month ago, we combined both of them again.
Well, and I think that speaks well of leadership, that you're willing to try things and willing to admit when it doesn't work. So that, I think that's all good. So on your way out of Uprising, was it a week that they changed the name?
Yeah, they changed it prior to my last war. And yeah, they changed the name to 7 Days Alice.
That was really
Which was
sweet.
very,
That was a
very nice.
yeah, great way to honor you on your way out.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
now, when you left Uprising, so in the last week, what level Titans were they hitting, just so people have an idea what they're going up against?
12 stars. Well, so we pretty much move around 11 to 12 stars. It depends.
Right. And now that you moved up to your new alliance, where are you at with them?
14.
All right. Have you faced 14s before?
Yeah, I have. I have 14 in my Bulgarian alliance. So I faced 14 at that time. Well, I have Mickey. So
Okay, that helps.
he's quite helpful. Yeah, he's quite helpful.
Excellent. So let's talk a little bit about Titan strategy. So you have Mickey there. What else are you using?
Well, I normally, I always use an attack up hero, a defense down hero, and if I have an elemental down defense hero. The other two are basically high attack stat, basic stat attack heroes. And if I have a hero like Jot or somebody else who increases the tower damage, yeah, I also use that. But I always use a defense down and attack up hero, definitely.
Excellent. I actually stopped using attack up, regular attack up, because I've been getting that through bear banners, the dragon banner or Titan banner. But I always use somebody like Mickey, Ranveer, Tarlek, one of the big attack boosters that you can't get from a flag.
Yeah.
So congratulations on your move up.
Thank you.
So what would your advice be to the mid-level player? Maybe not exactly at 10 heroes max, 10 5-stars, but let's say they're floating around the 20 and maybe their troops are not quite to 23 yet. What advice would you give that player who's looking to bust into a bigger alliance?
Well, I'm going to give them an advice which I actually got some time ago, and it was very, very useful. Stop pulling for heroes. Whenever you want to pull for a hero, pull some troops. Because yeah, troops make big difference. Definitely, they make a big difference. And as you said before, you need them with all your heroes, and you can use them with all your heroes at some point. So I was actually a big hero puller. I have around 100 and some heroes right now, 5-star heroes, and my roster. I don't think I've, including the dupes, of course, including the duplicates. I don't think I'm never going to max them all. But yeah, I actually started pulling for troops, which is very beneficial, I think. Another advice I can give is maybe don't try to compete at this point in the challenge events, maybe in the Ninja Tower and so on. Well, always finish them because the rewards are nice, but don't try to compete that much because it requires a lot of resources, and you will need also in terms of battle items and food and iron, and you still need those resources while building up your base and putting emblems on your heroes, etc. So you will get there eventually. You will be able to compete, but maybe don't waste your resources quite yet on those. I think your microphone is muted. Actually, I can't hear you.
Yep, sorry, I keep trying to mute it for the wind.
Yeah.
So what are your next goals in the game? You're obviously goal oriented. So what's next on Alice's agenda?
Well, hard to say. Well, actually, I just completed one goal of mine, like moving up to a top 100 alliance. So right now I have to figure that out. I think pretty soon I will be able to start competing in the challenge events. But I still need to build up my roster a little bit more, because currently I have, I think, 26 max 5-stars. And I need to get a little bit more of those. I'm able to form viable war teams, 6 viable war teams, but I still need some more 5-stars to yeah, to get on that level, because you know, it's all ninjas and other stuff defenses out there, which require firepower. And after that, I think I'm gonna try for the challenge events. I think I'm gonna start with rare, because it requires the less resources in terms of battle items, I think, and I find it easier to compete there. I've tried a few times to go to top 1000, and I actually succeeded 2 times. So yeah, maybe that would be my next goal.
All right, excellent, congrats. Yeah, it's I think too many people wait too long to get into the challenge events, and there are some really great rewards, and you don't have to be at the top
Yeah,
to get some great rewards. So good luck with that. Now you
thank you.
mentioned your roster a few times in your max fives. I have to ask, do you have Alice?
Yeah, of course I do. She was my second. She was my second 5-star. Yeah, I actually got pretty excited when I got her. Besides being my second 5-star, which was huge for me at that time, and yeah, it was her. So yeah, I got very excited. I needed a good sniper also at that time.
Excellent. So how is the vibe so far in your new alliance?
Sorry?
How is the vibe? How are you getting along in the new alliance? Are you acclimating well to the new group?
I think so. They're really fun. All of them are really nice people so far. I actually thanked them last night when I entered for the warm welcome, and they said I shouldn't be too fast to jump to conclusions, and that it's all appearance at the beginning. But I think I'm sure they're a pretty nice group, and they're all fun, and they make jokes all the time. So I think we will get on very well. I hope so.
You mentioned your boyfriend. Is he continuing in the game?
Unfortunately not. He quit. Actually, he quit 2 days ago, I think. I think he got tired of the game itself because it was already 3 years for him. And I think he also doesn't like the new changes Small Giant is implementing in the game. He started way back when it was all simpler and maybe not that much pay to play. So yeah, I think that was actually the main 2 reasons he quit.
Yeah, I mean, and that happens. People come and go from the game, and it probably won't be surprising if he picks it back up in a few weeks or months or
Yeah, me
something.
neither. Me neither.
It
He was
happens.
actually filling up his monster chest last night, even though he's not in alliance anymore. But it was a habit of filling up the chest, farming to fill up the chest.
It's like a background habit. I'm actually, like you said,
Yeah,
I have my farming going while I'm doing the interviews too. It's just keep it running. You need
I
those
know.
resources.
I know you do that all the time. I actually saw actually your video about the XP farming.
Hmm.
It was very helpful for me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's increasing those flag counts. That's an important resource in the game, and it's the only thing that we as players can increase the value. So I enjoy watching that world energy flask tick up and know that they become worth more and more flags each time. What player
Yeah.
level are you at right now?
67. I'm currently
67.
67. I managed to level up twice during Quest Atlantis Rises, which was I kind of consider it as my personal, uh, you know, uh, yeah. So yeah, I actually am also XP farming orientated, and I always look at your videos and also other charts and so on. So I can actually increase my level faster, maybe.
So if there are players out there, all right. So two questions. One,
Yeah.
how does a player know when it's like when should they know that they've outgrown their lines and it's time to grow into something new? And then two, how do they get involved in finding one of these networked alliances?
Well, we get a lot of applications because we do interviews with new recruits. We have to see their in a pricing, that is. But I suppose every big alliance do the same. So we have to see their rooster, and then we start asking questions about how they level heroes and what titan level they're actually currently hitting. It's just to get an idea what their level of play is like. And we often hear people say that they're tired of their alliance members not using their war flags, or of alliance members not hitting the Titan, and so on. So if you had that competitive vibe, and um, you feel like your alliance mates are not doing the same effort as you do, I think it's time to move on and fight something more competitive. Um, Here I want to say that the competitive play is not for everybody, again, as it requires a certain type of dedication. But if you're not fit for competitive play, that doesn't make you a bad player at all. It's just that there is a place for everybody, I think, an alliance for everybody. It's just a matter of time to find the right place for you. And can you repeat your second question? If I
How do they find a networked alliance like 7 days?
Well, I think they're pretty. I think pretty much all of the those network alliances have their Facebook posts in the Facebook groups. There are a lot of Facebook recruitment groups, and actually, I've been pretty active when I was a recruiter in them. So that is a great way to find players for your alliance, and also to find an alliance for you. And another great way, I think, it's the Empires and Puzzles official forum. Most of the network alliances, they have a thread in their recruitment trend, and they always renew it when they have spaces for new players. So I think that's actually a quite nice place to start.
Sure, and I would add on to the previous question about when is it time to leave. I've I've seen players that have that competitive bug. They have the roster, they have the troops, but they're stuck because of the family that they're in, right? They have this,
Yeah,
they grew with their alliance, they know everybody in their alliance, and there's a comfort there. And I know and I can appreciate how hard that is to leave a good group. But one of the things I found from leaving a group is there's other great groups out there too, and you can build that family again. And it takes a little bit to learn 30 new personalities and play styles and all those things. Uh, but it is often a decision between, and I appreciate that you said this multiple times now, are you a competitive player? Are you looking for
yeah,
competitive play? Because it's one of those things that if you're in an alliance of people who are not, if they're having fun over being competitive, in another year or two, they're probably still going to be having fun and not being as competitive.
yeah.
So if you do have that drive and you want to move up, there's people willing to feed you if you're hungry. So
Yeah, absolutely. And you never know what kind of family you will find until you try. I found some pretty great people, in the lands I was in uprising, and I still, I still intend to have that connection with them. We still have our own, line chats and Discord chats and so on. We will continue communicating. But if you have that competitive drive and you feel like you outgrew your current alliance and your current group, maybe you should just try and see what's on the other side. If you don't like it, fair enough. You can come back anytime, I guess. So yeah, just try.
yeah, another thing I found is when you make those really solid connections with individual players, sometimes you bring them along with you, or they bring you
Yeah,
along if you float around and find a new alliance. So
yeah.
let's talk about the training alliances and how they handle other aspects of the game, like the Mythic Titan. What was the expectation in Uprising for the Mythic Titan?
We actually didn't set any goal for the Mythic Titan except participation. Because we didn't want to force our members to use heavy items and so, because some of them are still in the process of building their base, their food storages and so on, and that extra resources in terms of battle items would cost them a lot. So we decided to not force for a certain goal, but we just require participation. And Actually, I don't know. I think we're last Mythic Titan. We ended up at number 1030 something, which was, yeah, it was in the last wood pot, but it wasn't that bad, I think. And if you want to get an individual wood, you can still do it. I'm always top 1%. I always finish top 1%. I think it's pretty big, the amount of people that get enter in that 1%. So it's
Yeah,
not that hard.
I'm surprised at people who don't use flags or get involved with the Mythic Titan, even on a low level. We
Yeah,
did extremely well. Not this last Titan that didn't have any of the defense downs, but the one before
yeah,
that, we pushed and we ascended, got fifth overall, and I
nice.
walked away with 270 emblems. Now you compare that to my wife, who actually only did 3 flags the entire event. She didn't even do all 12 flags. She only did 3 flags, and she still walked away with 170 emblems.
Yeah,
So you can still get some decent rewards if you just at least dip your toes in and try these events. Uh,
definitely.
so what has your experience been at the level that you're at with the Ninja Tower?
Well, to be quite honest, I don't like the Ninja Tower that much. I think part of the reason that I don't like it's because I don't have that deep of a roster. So I normally go around floor 30, I think. And after that, it gets pretty frustrating for me to go up. I get angry and throw my phone and so on. So I decided to stay calm, go up to 30 level. I actually play it also because of the experience it gives you. You don't actually have to use your world energy flags. You use extra flags, which is great. But I suspect the wider my roster gets, the more enjoyment I will get from it.
Sure, and I would actually a deep roster is somewhat important for the tower, but deep weapons is if you want to be
Yeah,
fast, if you have the weapons to clear boards, those the if you're playing competitively and have the weapons to carry you through at least the first 10 floors, you shouldn't lose a hero or get a curse at all because you can
yeah,
finish most of those in under 3 moves, so no curses stick. But like
yeah,
like you said, you got to have the resources. The game has definitely become much more resource heavy in the last few months between the Mythic Titan and the Ninja Tower. Uh, I'm really now appreciating how much farming I have done over the last year during the pandemic because it's built up resources to a
yeah.
very high level.
Yeah, definitely. I also started noticing the benefit of farming. I used to struggle with those bones, that white bones, which are used for small mana pots. I used to struggle with them a lot. I think around half a year back. And since I started doing excessive Atlantis Rises farming, I've never had that problem again. So yeah, you definitely should farm for resources.
Yeah, I remember probably the better part of 2 years ago, I remember reading somebody post. They made some comment about they were talking about getting into diamond in the daily trophies. And they're like, well, once you get there, it's hard to get to diamond, but once you're there, you kind of just stay. And I
Yeah.
remember thinking that didn't make sense to me because I'm like, if it's hard to get in, obviously you're going to get pushed out right away. But it does. You just hit a certain point of maturity in the game that you just get into diamond and you just kind of stay there. And I think it's the same with what you were just talking about with resources. When you're at a certain point in the game, you feel like you're struggling, always trying to find recruits or backpacks or large bones. And then you get to a point where you've done enough farming and you're advanced enough in the game that you just have resources.
Yeah.
So for anyone out there struggling and looking for resources, know that this does not last forever. You did not buy into a game that you're going to have to look for backpacks for the rest of your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what are your favorite parts of the game?
Definitely Titans. I love Titans. I think part of the reason is that I pulled Mickey pretty soon in the game. I think I pulled him last year when he was featured during Atlantis Rises. I think it was June or July. I can't remember now. So that was pretty soon for me. It was around my 6 months mark. But yeah, I very much enjoy Titans. I enjoy forming Titan teams as well. I enjoy using the battle items for the Titans, and I always strive for that big score there. So yeah, I also enjoyed season 4, the new season 4. I also like the heroes they already released, and I also like the heroes that will be released. I've seen pictures of them and so on, and I think it's getting quite challenging with the new things they're implementing in terms of map stages. For example, on the first stage when you can't use really your purple heroes and so on. It actually adds a new side to the game, which is interesting to me. So, but yeah, definitely Titans is my favorite part of the game.
You had mentioned about summoning too much.
Yeah,
and you switched over to doing troops. Are you still summoning pretty heavy?
For troops or for heroes?
For heroes.
Not that much. Now I concentrate only on heroes I really, really want. Because in the beginning there was certain goals of heroes I wanted to have. One of those was Finley. I remember when Pirates came, I think 4 or 5 months back, I summoned quite heavy for him. And I actually got him at the end from a free pool. It was my last free coins pool, and he appeared, and I was thrilled. So yeah, I had those heroes I wanted to have pretty bad. Also maybe Mother North and so on. And now I have them. So I'm looking forward to the new heroes coming up. But I will definitely keep an eye on some heroes I need more than those that I want.
The elemental defense downs.
Exactly, the elemental defense downs. I only have Phileas Fogg. I had Amur before, of course, but he dies pretty quickly, especially for Titans of 12 stars and above. So now I'm pretty happy with my Mr. Fogg for the elemental defense down. So yeah, I'm going to try to pull for those. My Hero Academy is also ready. Level 10 is ready. So I have excessive amount of duplicates, and I intend to put those in for the chance of the 5% chance.
I was pleased when you said that you got Finley. You were like, I was pulling heavy. I was like, oh, please, I hope this is a positive story.
Yeah. So, it was a positive story.
I had all of back in the day. I had all of the elemental defense down heroes except Guardian Panther.
Mm-hmm.
And I spent a fortune that weekend in Guardians pulling, and I did not get Panther. Like I was like, I can't believe I just spent all this money and I didn't even walk away with Panther. And then the next Tell Talk, I pulled Panther back to back twice. Like
whoa!
I was like, nice. I was like, you got to be kidding! It's like you put effort in sometimes chasing it, you don't get the reward, and sometimes it just falls on your lap. It's so random. It's such a lottery. So good luck with Guardians of Tell Talk. I don't know if that'll be this month or if they're going to bring out the Starfall Circus this month.
Yeah, I don't know either. Well, we still have, I don't know, I think 2 weeks till the challenge event time has come. So maybe they will implement the new event. They still have time to make adjustments and do so. If not, Guardians will be here again.
Yep.
I'm trying to pull for Panther, of course, because I need that elemental defense down. But not excessive pulling, I think.
Yeah, I'm still chasing costume Leonidas for the holy defense down.
Yeah, yeah.
I've way outgrown Guardian Falcon with only. I think he's a fine hero. I just don't like that he only elemental defense downs one enemy, which is fine for Titans, but terrible for the events.
Yeah, yeah.
So you had mentioned using Almer as a 4-star hero against Titans.
Yeah.
Are you also using Costume Brienne, the 3-star for the element, or excuse me, for the regular
No.
defense down?
No, I don't use it. Actually, in a color where I don't have defense down hero from the strong color against the Titan, I always use Wilbur. I actually find him pretty useful, except for the defense down, also for the attack up and the share damage of your heroes. So if you're in the beginning, if you're a newer player and you don't have those maxed 5 stars with a lot of emblem zone, who dies who die harder, of course, Wilbur is a pretty good alternative, I think, because he will keep your heroes alive till the end of the battle.
Well, if you haven't tried it, I would recommend at least trying to use Costume Brienne at some point.
Yeah,
especially
okay.
if you're using a lot of tornadoes and mana pots to keep the board moving, because she'll stay alive. Now I have mine maxed with emblems, but I still use her on 14-star Titans. I use her against the Mythic Titan. She has the second highest defense down in the game. She's equal to Athena, except that she's a 3-star.
Yeah.
So give her a try. Let us know how that works out for you.
Okay. Well, do you manage to keep her alive till the end of the battle?
Yeah, well, I have a rhythm for how I do most Titan hits. So usually when the board starts, it's actually a very simple pattern. When the board starts, I set off whatever attack up flag I'm using.
Yeah.
So usually a dragon banner or a bear banner. If I'm going for record, it'd be Titan banner. So I set off the banner for the attack up, and then I immediately do a tornado.
Yeah.
And as soon as I do the tornado, I just hit everybody with medium mana pots. So that sets off everybody's specials. So I get the big attack up, elemental defense down, regular defense down, and whatever the other 2 hits do. Hopefully it's like a Jod or a Karnov or a Ratatoskar who boosts the tiles. Once they go off, I hit another tornado. And then if nothing exciting happened on the board, I'll do a second tornado. Now with those 2 tornadoes, the board is moved, so quite a bit can happen. And now I'm only needing a minor mana pot to get everybody manaed again. And that's assuming no tiles on color matched. Obviously, I stop if there's ever a match that hits the weak spot on the Titan, I will take that.
Yeah.
But at the beginning of the game, you have the option to do 1 tornado and medium mana pots for 1 set of specials, and then 2 tornadoes and minor, and 2 tornadoes and minor. So that gives us 3 swirls on the board to keep things moving. And a lot can happen in those 3 spins of the board. It takes actually some time to do, and the Titan never fires. So you never, and if you hit the weak spot, the Titan doesn't fire. So if you keep hitting the weak spot and keep things moving, I can often keep Brienne alive till the end. So
I'll try her.
It's sort of like, it's resource heavy because you need to have the tornadoes.
Yeah.
But it's sort of like the logic that I always say with the Ninja Tower. If you don't want curses, don't make 3 moves.
Yeah, good point.
If you want Ulmer or Brienne or Wilbur, a 3 or 4-star to survive, or even Nordry, I'd recommend Nordry if you don't have elemental defense down for ice.
Yeah.
These heroes can last if you just don't let the Titan hit you, which I know it's easy to say, not always easy to do, but watch some of my Titan videos. You can see it. It happens. It works.
Yeah. I use Nordry sometimes. Yeah, I do.
All right. So any last words you want to end the viewers with? Pieces of advice, suggestions, words of wisdom?
Well, I don't consider myself as a wise person, but what I can say is that if you have a goal, just go for it, regardless if it's game orientated or life orientated or wherever. And it happens if you put enough work in it. It happens, and you should do what makes you happy. The game, of course, as well. And yeah, you will get there eventually. I started like a year and 2 months ago, and now I'm in a top 100 alliance, which I've never seen coming. So yeah,
Well,
you get there.
knowing your story, I'm not surprised. So I will end with this. One of the strongest mentors in my life gave me a phrase that I'll never forget. And that is, if you can speak in a situation, you can affect the situation. And one of the things I've really pulled from your story, Alice, is how much you're willing to speak up. You know, you reached out to me and said, hey, do you need help with research? You reached out to 7 days and said, hey, I'd like to be part of 7 days sometime. And then within 6 months, you're actually a leader of one of their alliances. And now you're moving
Yeah.
up within the family. So I'd suggest people consider what you've done and be proactive and speak up for yourself. I think you're being a bit humble or modest when you say, "Well, I didn't really see this for myself." Where to me, I mean, I don't know you that very well, but hearing your story, it seems like a natural conclusion and growth where you're going, because you're obviously a go-getter. You're asking those questions. You're willing to learn. You're willing to invest in the game and into a good alliance. So kudos to you. I think you've deserved all of your successes so far.
Thank you so much.
I look forward to speaking to you again in a year and seeing which alliance you're dominating then.
Me too. Thank you so much for inviting me, and it was a pleasure.
Typically like to end the interview with a fight between myself and the interviewee. Unfortunately, Alice and I have never faced each other in war or raid, so we're just going to end with one of her war hits. Enjoy.